Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy named Diddy, man. Rihanna. I know I said Rihanna and the Rose. I just like to say it like that. I don't know why. It just sounds dope to me. But it's actually Rihanna. I definitely wanted to go ahead and say that. I forgot to mention that in the Rose. But yeah, man, this is a kind of a breakdown of her discography, kind of how I see it, and just to talk about, you know, just Rihanna's music more thoroughly than I did in the Rose, because the Rose is kind of just like a, hey, congratulations, I think you do amazing work, and things of that nature. But this, I kind of wanted to go album by album and talk about it a little bit more, similar to what I did with the Ja Rule joint. So first off, Rihanna, she kind of came about in the new reforming of Def Jam. This is the L.A. Reid and Jay-Z era. She was one of the first signees there. I remember at the time it was Tierra Marie and Rihanna. And I remember at the time, I really thought Tierra Marie was like the next biggest thing. And I thought Rihanna was cool. I didn't think she was a bad artist, but upon the replay being the song that they chose, I was just like, all right, that's dope. We have like a new kind of dance hall reggae artist, because there was a moment in America at that time. Sean Paul was huge. Elephant Man was doing his thing. Like in the clubs at that time, they would have a whole section, like about an hour and a half of nothing but just, reggae and dance hall. So Rihanna's sound fit right in with there. And plus she was young. So nobody really knew what to expect from her. But Tia Marie just seemed like she just had so much potential. L.A. Reid actually talks about how they had a showcase for all of the new artists at Def Jam at the time, and Jay-Z had invited Beyonce, and he said he was just like, yo, Tierra Marie got it. Tierra Marie got it. And he said Beyonce tapped him like, what you need to be doing is paying attention to Rihanna. That girl's a star. And Beyonce was right. Beyonce was right. Tierra Marie is doing any season 11 hip hop she can, and Rihanna is one of the biggest artists in the history of music ever. I definitely was wrong. I bought Tierra Marie's album. Like I said, I was riding hard, but it was a good moment in music. Def Jam kind of had switched over. They had been hip hop centric forever. They did have some R&B acts, but they were hip hop centric forever. And this was the changing of the guard. So her debut album, Music in the Sun. This album isn't her best work. It is fitting for like how old she was at the time when they put this together. When you run through the track list, some of the songs that stand out, obviously, Pon the Replay was a huge record, right? If It's Loving That You Want was a vibe. I love the instrumental on that. It's got a great modern dance hall beat with like some really dope hip hop influences. It samples from Scott LaRock. It's produced by Tone and Polk. It's got some really dope elements into it, And the dope thing about these roses, I have to go back and listen to everything. Even if I've heard it multiple times, I have to listen to it and just kind of take it in and observe. And I get to see the growth because I'm listening to it multiple times and I'm listening to every album. And listening to this, it was a really dope starting point. It kind of reminds me of, for a young dancehall artist, this was kind of like my way from like for Usher. Nobody really talks about Usher's first album that he had did with Bad Boy or with Puffy, but this one, my way was the joint. Him and Jermaine Dupri just had great chemistry. And I felt like Rihanna and Carl and Evan, they had some really dope chemistry. This was probably the heaviest they were involved in the process, but, it works out. Just to continue on, there's a couple other key things I wanted to point out. That La 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 is written by Full Force. For the youngins that don't know who Full Force is, if you've ever seen House Party, The Three Bullies, that's Full Force. They wrote some of the most incredible, most amazing R&B records you've ever heard in your life. But yeah, they did that La La La, and I bring that up because the co-writer on this song is D Miles, the D Miles that's notorious in R&B right now. He's like the go-to guy. He's the Babyface Edmonds of production and crafting great sounds. You like Lucky Day's music? That's D Miles. You like some of Victoria Monet's music? That's D Miles. If you like some of Bruno Mars music, that's D Miles. Like, he is, if there's anything that is dope in R&B, I'm pretty sure if you check it out, D Miles' name ain't that far away from when it's happening. And this is kind of like his start. I thought that was kind of dope, like little nugget here. He kind of got to start working with full force on a Rihanna record. That's pretty dope to me. One of the things that I always wonder when I listen to this album is probably one of the most famous dancehall songs, at least in America. I'm not really sure how these songs go in the islands in the Caribbean, and you know, but No 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 by Don Penn. No, no, no. Rihanna covers this. At the time she covered it, I feel like her voice then was good enough to do it. I felt like the way they reproduced it and having her doing doubles and stuff like that kind of took away from the original intention of the song. However, I do want to know what it would sound like if Rihanna covered it anytime after Good Girl Gone Bad, after she had kind of found her voice, found out how to do her like vocals and stuff like that. And I really wish she could redo No 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 so we could see what it sounds like with authentic Rihanna sound, because Music Under the Sun is Rihanna kind of trying to find herself and find her sound and experimenting, just learning how to write. That's one thing I like to leave out there. Maybe people have some thoughts on that. There are some other cool songs up here that people should definitely check out. Willing to Wait is a dope one. There's a Thug in My Life. I think that's actually pretty dope with J Status. That's a cool one as well. The first album is really her trying to find her way. So right after that, they didn't take any time for real, putting together the next album. I think they dropped it 8 months, I felt like I said, after the debut. And they came back around, and Def Jam and Rihanna basically wanted to reach out and infuse some more popular sounds into the music. And they got the first single to be SOS, which was a J.R. Rodham produced record. It actually samples a really popular song that I didn't even catch. Sometimes I feel I've got to. It's a really dope flip that is pretty obvious, but for some reason it kind of evaded me for a long time. I didn't even notice that it was that sample. So they had mentioned when they were writing this song, they had never really written a pop song before at that point. So what they did during the writing process, which is kind of cool, is if you check the second verse, it mentions a whole bunch of songs that have been number one pop records. I believe I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. There's a Beatles song that's mentioned in there. There's some Michael Jackson records mentioned in there. If you go through that second verse, I think it's a really dope Easter egg just to catch all the number ones that they mentioned in that record. And that was kind of like them manifesting this song to be a number one record. And this was a big song for Rihanna. It kind of like crossed her over because she was kind of at the moment typecast, but this song definitely got the point across and crossed her over a little bit. She did Unfaithful, which was written by my man Schaefer Smith. If y'all don't know who Schaefer Smith is, he is the genius songwriter Neo, and dude is brilliant. This dude can make a song about anything. I love the melodies that he writes. He writes some beautiful melodies. He comes up with some beautiful arrangements for people to sing, and this is probably one of my favorite Rihanna songs. You know, I'm not saying Neo's perfect as far as his writing, but he had linked up with Stargate, and him and Stargate, they're pretty much unstoppable when they work on records together. So Neo and Stargate put this together. Rihanna executed it precisely, best way you could. We Ride is on this album as well. This song is really good. Stargate produced this as well. Stargate had their hand in this album pretty thoroughly, actually. Break It Off was a really, really big record, man, especially if you were clubbing around that time. For those youngins that may not know, Break It Off with Sean Paul. Sean Paul was Man, this man had so many hits bumping in the club at the time. Temperature, you had I'm Still in Love, you had Get Busy, you had Like Glue. Uh he had so many records, and these were the crossover records. They would still play the joints from back in the day that he was doing with like Mr. Vegas and stuff like that. And Sean Paul is the man. So this song with Rihanna was huge for her. It was playing everywhere. There's something that I've kind of wanted to bring up because I thought this was interesting when I was going through her discography. There's a song up here called A Million Miles Away, and it was written by Evan and Carl. And the song is about how her and this person are still together, but they feel so far away from each other. Like they're kind of growing apart, but they're just still sticking it out. It always felt to me like California King Bed was kind of like a sequel to that. California King Bed was written by Money Long. I think this is a great example of how different songwriters can write a song about basically the same exact topic, and both could come out with great songs. And it's the same artist too. It's the same artist, same style song. Listen to Million Miles Away from Girl Like Me, and then listen to California King Bed from Loud. They felt kind of like brother and sister records. Final Goodbye is another good one off of this project. This project caught a lot of flack at the time that it came out. I'm not really sure why. I think it was people didn't want Rihanna, like fans didn't necessarily want Rihanna to cross over into the pop sphere, but I felt like she always knew how far to kind of like keep it, and she always kept it part of her culture and made sure the music made sense for her, which you got to respect 100%. So when it comes to the first two albums that I just spoke about, I wasn't really checking for Rihanna at the time. I was aware of the music. I heard some of it. I had never really listened to those albums into their entirety. I don't even know if I went back to listen to those first two until Loud came out. But the album that did have me from day one is the third album, Good Girl Gone Bad. So this is the album where she basically took charge of her career. She took some hints from like Janet Jackson. Hey, I'm grown. I'm here now. I can talk about what I want. She started, getting tats. She started like really looking sexy in the music videos and things of that nature. And she leaned heavy in to the big record, and it worked out. They had found a young songwriter by the name of The Dream, and Tricky Stewart, who was one of his predominant producers. They ended up having a fight for the Umbrella record. It was supposed to go to Mary J. Blige. They tried to get it to Britney Spears. The song was conceived in the writing session. They were writing songs for Britney Spears. Like, when I mention these names, think about that song and think about how it possibly would have sounded. Like, I can't see Umbrella being sung by Britney Spears. Can you? I can't hear Umbrella being sung by Mary J. Blige. It don't even feel like her type of record. I can't even see it. But I mean, can y'all see Umbrella being sung by Mary J. Blige? I just can't. But I felt like it ended up in the right hands. She killed it. The Dream was on a tear this time too, by the way, y'all. He had just done the joints for Jay Holiday. He was everywhere. He was everywhere. He was ready in his debut album. The Dream he was just the man. I mean, you knew it was him because he would do the A's and the L's all throughout the records. Umbrella was a great record, and Rihanna killed it. Jay-Z added a verse to it, and I'm talking about from that point, this album was like out of here. It was like everywhere. It was playing on pop radio stations. It was playing on the urban radio stations, R&B. It was playing on Quiet Storm stuff, because this album it just has so much versatility. I didn't even know this was in Rihanna. You have Umbrella, which is really dope. Like I mentioned, you have Push Up On Me, which was produced by J.R. Rodham. You have Don't Stop the Music, which was produced by Stargate, which samples Michael Jackson. Mama Say, Mama Sama, Mama Say, what's that? Wanna Be Starting Something. It also has Breaking Dishes, which is another Tricky Stewart and The Dream record right here. It has Shut Up and Drive, which is Carl and Evan's. I think this might be their only record on here, but great record. The song is a smash. Hate That I Love You. Neo and Stargate. Like I said, they are untouchable. Hate That I Love You. Their chemistry on that record, Rihanna and Neo's chemistry is really good. I'm surprised that they didn't link up and just do a straight up joint album, because he just seems to get her and what she wants to talk about. And the content, the back and forth, the way they sing, the guitar that they chose to play, it just sounds so Stargatey, and it's just such a amazing, incredible record. Say It. It's a flip on Mad Cobra's Flex, which was a smash back in the early 90s. That song was everywhere. Even my dad liked it, and he don't even really he was playing Mad Cobra Flex, and he was playing Patra. Like, those were the only two reggae dance hall adjacent songs that you would hear in my house. So to hear her flip that was dope. It was produced by Neo the Matrix, who had been producing with Swiss Beats and Rough Riders for a while. Incredible producer. Love that dude's style. He's incredible. We had a couple of Timberland joints. We have Sell Me Candy, Let Me Get That, and Rehab. The beats on those are crazy. Rehab was written by Justin Timberlake, and the other two were written by The Dream. These songs are huge records for her. The production on it is forward leaning. It's big, boisterous production. Gotta love those records. Question Existence. Man, this song right here is so incredible to me. Who did it? Neo. Neo killed this record. This song is so well written. I felt like it hit so well, knowing that she was a young artist who had gotten famous, and circles are tight. There's a lot of yes people around you, and you just kind of want real people around you. And Neo just nailed it. There's a dope flip on this record that Wale did on his debut album, Attention Deficit, called Contemplate. Them people, they talking, them lights, they on me. I think it's dope, and he kind of leaned in to the mood of the record. Great record. This is one of my favorite Rihanna records. This record is slept on, in my opinion. Right after that, we have another great Stargate and Neo record in Take a Bow. I love this record. Nobody writes like this dude, Neo. Like, my man's talking about, like, he's singing from the, like, about this person in the front yard. You better hurry up before the sprinklers comes on. I love even the starting the lyrics off, like, you look so dumb right now. And then the way Rihanna delivers the lyrics, like, please, like, she is a master at being able to get the best performance out of the record. And I felt like Neo's records pull that out of her. On the low, her Neo's records aren't necessarily the number ones, but it's not about the number ones. What is good? It's about what is the best sounding record, at least for me. The number ones is cool. That just means it's popular outside of your demographic. That's really all that means to me. So around the time GGGB was out, the whole Chris Brown incident happens, where they get into a fight driving home from the Grammys. I remember she had left the Grammys early, and I can't remember all of the details, but I do remember it being all over the news at the time. She was supposed to perform. The performance didn't come out, and then the pictures came out. The pictures were crazy, and I remember just, man, it was tough. It was rough. Everybody was really upset, because Rihanna was like the princess of music, and it's just like, to think that somebody would do that to her was crazy. It was unthinkable at the time. She got right back in the booth and right back in the studio. Neo was like, hey, I'm working on a new album. No ID was like, I'm working on a new album. Neo was like, I will not be writing songs about the situation. Even though he said that, I feel like Rihanna took some of those songs, because as a person, you take from a song what you want, right? I feel like this is one of the reasons why you have people like that are super into their art, like Kendrick Lamar, that don't really tell you what the song is about. They want you to kind of pull your own thing from the record and lean on that, because everybody's their own person. Everybody has their own experiences. So when you hear records, sometimes you pull your own story and meaning from a record. And I feel like even though Neo may not have written these records about the situation with Chris Brown, it comes off like some of them are, if you get what I mean. When the album first came out, I remember Russian Roulette was the single. And based on the fact that, so this is part of the problem with like the media, right? Because the song is not about her like committing suicide, but since the Chris Brown thing happened, I feel like that's how people interpreted the record. That kind of caused some backlash in the song because it was just like, oh man, it seems like Rihanna's in a dark place, because the instrumental for that song is kind of dark. But man, that song is beautiful. I don't care what nobody says, man. Shout out to Chuck Harmony on the production. Neo is just a genius. Listen to the lyrics in that song, man. Like, you can tell Rihanna felt those words that she was singing. And due to that backlash, they ended up flipping and going with Hard for the single, which wasn't a bad idea because Hard is an incredible record. Speaking of Russian Roulette, there's actually a dope flip on that. Joe Budden has a freestyle. For those that don't know Joe Budden music, go check out Joe Budden's freestyle over the Russian Roulette instrumental.
Bad bitch on my side, it caused a little drama. Think she could pop up on me cause she my little mama.
Crazy. Hard is a great record featuring Young Jeezy. It was a dope single. It was an obvious single. The song goes super, super hard. For real, for real. The beat is crazy. It was done. The song was written by The Dream, Tricky Stewart. They also did the beat. And joint is crazy. Wait Your Turn. I think Wait Your Turn actually is a single. But this is the first album that Rihanna started working with James Fauntleroy. If you don't know who James Fauntleroy is, he's an artist. He's an incredible songwriter. He's wrote so many hit records, it doesn't even make sense. You're going to hear me mention his name a couple times in this video because some of the amazing records he's done with Rihanna, they have to be acknowledged. Yeah, Wait Your Turn is dope. It's dark. It's kind of like Rihanna kind of taking command and control of like the fact that fans have been waiting for the project. It's like the wait is over. It's here. You know, dope. Stupid in Love. Neo again. Stargate again. This song is one of those songs where people will be like, oh man, this is about Chris. And it's like, I don't think so. I can see how it could be interpreted that way based on the situation, the timing of the album. This was kind of like everybody was waiting. Everybody wanted to see if she was going to talk about Chris Brown in the album. So it could be taken however you wanted it to be taken. Rockstar 101 featuring Slash. Crazy. I love the heavy guitar on this one. It sounds dope. It makes her feel like a rock star. I felt like this was the point where she was being considered to be like an icon and a rock star at this point. Firebomb. James Fauntleroy. Brian Kennedy. This song right here is crazy. I don't feel like people appreciate some of these records. Like, go back and listen to this song and listen to like, that's the thing. You gotta listen to the lyrics. There's a lot of people that listen to music and they don't listen to lyrics. You gotta listen to the lyrics, listen to the instrumental, take it in, like put the song on, go in a dark room and just listen. I feel like so many more people will appreciate records like this. Photographs with will.i.am. Another crazy record. I love the way she's singing the hook. will.i.am has a really creative way of doing things. It's not always my cup of tea, but I felt like on Photograph, he nailed it 100%. Te Amos, that was a sample. Another James Fauntleroy joint. That it is really dope. I enjoy the way the record sounds. I love it kind of has like a slow dance hall dance vibe. I just don't see how you can't like the song, even if you don't know Spanish. She even tells you what Te Amos means in the lyrics. So it's kind of hard for you to hate on that. The other song I want to talk about is the last song. They recorded this hours before the album had to be turned in. I love this. There's a nice guitar solo at the end. Her and James Fauntleroy, she said they worked on this down to the wire. There's a part, the guitar solo at the end, it gives me Purple Rain vibes. If you guys haven't seen Prince's Purple Rain, you should definitely go see it. Hearing that guitar solo on this song, it feels like you should just walk off stage because like the show's over. It could have been a single. I don't know how well it would have did, but it's fire regardless. So after Loud, Rihanna wanted to do an album that was going to make her happy. She was feeling good about life and she wanted that to be reflected in the music. The studio wanted to aim for Thriller. You know, Thriller is considered the greatest album of all time by a lot of people. It's either 9 or 11 songs, just depending on which version you want to claim. Every song up there is fire. I know some people say it's not. It is. That was the aim for Loud. And I feel like they accomplished that. This album came out at a time where, for me, I was really venturing into other genres of music a lot. I wasn't really a super huge fan of the non-lyrical South rappers that were coming out at the time. I felt like it was kind of degrading the sound of music. So I was listening to other genres of music at the time. And I remember the S&M single came out and Only Girl in the World single came out. And I didn't initially think this album was going to be for me. I was just like, songs are cool. But man, when the album came out, I felt like it made those songs make more sense. What's My Name came out. Drake was steaming hot. He had one of the dopest lines in the song. The square root of 69 is 8 something. Like that. That is super dope. And this album just took center stage. I was running this thing back over and over again. S&M, Stargate, this is where she met Cucurell. Actually, she met him during the process for Rated R. But this is when he became heavily involved as far as like he started recording all her vocals. The Runners had been working with a lot of the down south rappers at the time. They was working with Ace Hood. They was working with Khaled, Rick Ross. And then they came and did this Cheers for Rihanna. And they sampled an Avril Lavigne clip. And that joint goes so hard. This is a really cool, positive record, man. Life's too short to be sitting around miserable. People gonna talk whether you're doing bad or good. This is one of my favorite Rihanna records. California King Bed, Money Long. This song is crazy. I love the production on this one. The Runners produced this as well with Cucurell. The instrumental is really dope. It has some really dope guitar section come on. Some cool leads and everything that makes this record. I love how she sings it so delicately. And it's funny too, because when you go back and listen to it now, you can hear it feeling like Money Long. Man Down. This is top 2 favorite Rihanna records right here. This is Rock City and Chantel. There's a couple other writers on this record, but just to hear that the label tried to keep this record away from Rihanna, like that's the type of thing that I hear that makes me disgusted. I felt like they knew she was gonna love it, but the label wanted her to continue to do pop music. The label only cares about sales, money. They don't really care about the integrity of the work. Rihanna heard this record, immediately fell in love. Beautifully written. The lyrics are crazy. Also, Sham. Sapase at the beginning, a Sham's tag. This joint is crazy. My daughter loves this record. I feel like this is undeniable. Raining Men with Nicki Minaj is dope. It's a cool flip. Complicated is underrated. This is also Triggy Stewart writing and producing on this one, as well as, who is that? Esther Dean. By the way, Esther Dean also worked on S&M. Esther Dean, Triggy Stewart. Complicated is a really good record. Skin, when I remember when this first came on, I love the stripped downness of the beat, the way it kind of builds in and builds up, and I feel like they almost kind of tried to format the song almost like an orgasm, like on some type shit like that, just because of the way the song unfolds, the tone she sings it in, the way she sings it, the hook is great, the lyrics is just written precisely good. This is an incredible record. Love the Way You Lie is also on this project as well. So this is Skylar Grey. If you haven't, Skylar Grey actually put her version out. Just gonna stand there and watch me burn. At the time, Skylar Grey was scorching hot as a songwriter. She did Love the Way You Lie. She did Welcome Home, that ended up being on Last Train to Paris, I think. And she had also did the Words I Never Said from Lupe Fiasco. She has versions where she does the whole entire song. Like she sung the records. The only one that's one for one exactly the same is Love the Way You Lie. M got Rihanna on it, and Rihanna really enjoyed the Skylar Grey version, so she sung it. So shout out to Skylar Grey. She's unappreciated as a songwriter and a singer as well. She's an incredible artist. Love the Way You Lie Part 2 is dope. So after Loud, like Rihanna was huge. She had crossed over in so many different ways, and she just wanted to continue to expand her sound. Like she's one of the most versatile cataloged artists there is out there. So she did Talk That Talk. And I remember when this came out, I remember running to Best Buy to pick this up. And You the One was fire. Esther Dean on this one as well. Where Have You Been Though was the joint that had me. That's Calvin Harris and Esther Dean. There's a lot of other songwriters on that as well. And then We Found Love, which is Calvin Harris. Those were kind of like the three main singles, and they were going crazy. We also got Talk That Talk featuring Jay-Z. I always thought Jay-Z's verse on this was kind of all right. It wasn't really all that. A little prior to this, they had done Run This Town, which was huge. Talk That Talk. It felt like he phoned it in for the verses on here. And I also, just like a nitpick part, I hate the fact that his ad-libs come in the end, but he doesn't say anything. I don't know why they did that. Who made that decision? Cockiness. Man, Bangladesh is, y'all know Bangladesh. He did a Millie. He also used to go by Chandre. He did like What's Your Fantasy for Luda, I believe. He had done some stuff for DTP. Cockiness is crazy. I don't even know what the voice sample is saying, but it sounds insane. The song just goes crazy on this one. Shout out to Candace Pillay, Dwayne, Albert Nelly. Crazy. Birthday Cake. I remember a lot of people being upset that this wasn't a full record. Later on, we ended up getting a remix with Chris Brown, which caused a whole different type of backlash. People were like really upset that she was working with Chris Brown again after what happened. It was intended to just be an interlude. It was never supposed to be a full song. The version with Chris Brown has other vocals from Rihanna on the song. So that felt like that was supposed to be the real song. So you can find it on YouTube. I don't know why it's not on DSPs. Check out Birthday, the full version with Chris Brown. It's fire. It's dope. We All Want Love. Crazy. Love this record. No ID produced this. Esther Dean. Drunk on Love is fire. I don't know why this song doesn't get talked about enough in my opinion. But this is one of those slept on records. Farewell. That is his Esther Dean and Alex the Kid. Alex the Kid is an incredible stadium sound type producer. I feel like he kind of like tapped into that a little bit here, but I love the way she's singing this song. Rihanna knows how to end the album for real. There were a couple other bonus records as well, but I felt like the album kind of should have just ended with Farewell. Sometimes there's bonus tracks added to records that aren't necessarily needed. After that, she had dropped Unapologetic. Unapologetic was a really big moment for her. It felt like she had reached the highest of heights. It didn't feel like Rihanna could really get much bigger, but she was just like wrong. And they got Diamonds, which was produced by, I can't remember his name. He's Benny Blanco. Benny Blanco, that's who I was thinking of. Benny Blanco linked up with Stargate, and they wanted to make a kind of like chill instrumental. If you notice, there is no snare in this beat. It's just kicks. Sia came in and they said she kind of mumbled a pass through and then wrote the lyrics for real in like 15 minutes. Sia is incredible. She doesn't get enough credit, and that song is great. They said Rihanna heard it and they played it over and over and over again. Just think about this. Benny Blanco said he wanted to give this record to Kanye West because he felt like it sounded like a Kanye West record, all because, you know, all the diamond talk and all of that stuff from Ye in the past. But Rihanna was the right choice. And this song is incredible. It gives you the feels. It's a positive record. You can play this anywhere. That's incredible. And Rihanna just killed it. Pour It Up. Mike Will made it. Rock City wrote this one. This song went hard. This song was being played everywhere. You can hear this in cars, blasting out. It was crazy. Love song featuring Future. I'm not the hugest Future fan, but this song went crazy. What Now? Man, I love What Now. This song, the production, the loud synths, the emptiness for for the areas where she yells what. It's just got a dope vibe to it. I love this record. Stay. Man, this is one of the first songs I actually learned how to play on the piano. Like completely. I just love the way the chill sound of the pianos, the way it follows the tone, their vibe back and forth. They had Nobody's Business. This was Chris Brown and Rihanna. This song was not liked by many people at the time. People were pissed about this situation, but I think the song's alright. It's basically a play on Michael Jackson's The Way You Make Me Feel. It's cool. You know, everybody knows how much Chris Brown loves Michael Jackson, so it kind of made sense that they would try to flip that, but it's alright. The bonus track on this album, Half of Me, is a really great record. This is Stargate record. I felt like this is one of her slept on records. Like, yeah, y'all know all of this music stuff I do and you see me on the television, but this ain't all who I am. Like, this is only part of me. You know what I mean? I have a whole another side. And I like songs where, you know, people can talk about themselves and things like that in the music. And I feel like Rihanna captured that in this. Then we get to Anti, y'all. R.O.S E, the album that everybody had been waiting on forever. When that Consideration beat came on, that I was just like, hold on, what is she doing? What is she doing on this album? So to hear that she didn't want to do any like pop records for real. She just wanted to make the album for the culture. Make something that she could perform in years that's still gonna go. And I felt like mission was accomplished. So Consideration was SZA's song. This was the centerpiece of her album, her debut album. And she had met up with Rihanna and they were like, so what you got? And she's like, I ain't got nothing. I just been sitting here. I couldn't come up with anything. And she's like, I got to play something to show them that like I'm worthy of being here. So she had played them Consideration, and Rihanna's like, yo, I want the record. Like once Rihanna says she wanted it, the process had already begun, and the label had shot a music video already for SZA's version of the song. SZA actually said initially she was crushed because she was just like, yo, like I don't really got to say so in this. They're just taking the record and giving it to Rihanna when she said she wanted it. And at the end of the day, SZA's made multiple records bigger than this, and this was not it for her. And it ended up helping lift her profile because she was on TDE. She was the only singer, only female on TDE at the time. And Rihanna brought her out to sing this. I can't remember what show she was at. And that put a bigger spotlight on what SZA was doing. Rihanna ended up getting a song, and this song is great on this project. I love the way they sing their parts. It sounds incredible. This is one of my favorite Rihanna songs. James Joint is crazy that this is just an interlude. So James Fauntleroy, you know, that's why it's called that. This is the way they're just, the vibe, the instrumental, it's not for the radio. It's just a vibe. Kiss It Better is crazy. Like go and check this record out. Listen to it. Just take it in. Work. Now this is the song that 40, Boy Wonder, Party Next Door wrote the record for Rihanna, and Drake did his part. This record is what it is. It was huge. It was playing everywhere. Love the music video. Desperado, that's Timbo the King, right? Not this record. Timbaland is actually, yeah, I said it. Mike Schultz. It feels like some old Western stuff. I like the tone that she's singing. I love the way she sings, ain't no leaving me behind. Like, there's some really dope things that Rihanna has in her music that nobody else really has. And I just love the way she sings it. Woo, Travis Scott. It says Hit Boy as well, but this just feels like a Travis Scott record. If you know Travis Scott sound, you know what I'm talking about. But this is a dope song. I enjoy this record as well. Needed Me went crazy. Mustard on the beat. As y'all know, Mustard is the biggest right now. And this song works. Yeah, I said it. This is Timbo the King and my girl BB Borelli. If y'all don't know BB Borelli, she is super dope, super edgy. It felt natural that her and Rihanna would link. You know, Bitch Better Have My Money is one of Rihanna's dopest records to me. It just goes super hard. Same Old Mistakes is actually just a remake. And I think she does a really dope job of initiating this song. If you actually listen to the original, same lyrics, same beat, everything, she just sung it over again. It sounds dope. Love on the Brain, fire, absolutely incredible. Love the way she sings it. Love the instrumental. It just felt like she had so much fun recording this record. Same with Higher. That's her and BB Borelli, No ID on the Beat. She said they would like the way she describes the lyrics is how the song came together. Like they were getting drunk, they couldn't figure out what to do with the song, and this is how it came out. The Gotham, Goodnight Gotham. I never really get this record, but this record ended up being like really popular in some circles. It's not bad, but Pose and Sex With Me are incredible. They should have just been included in a regular version. If you haven't heard them, you definitely should hear those records. They're untouchable. So aside from that, man, Rihanna, she's done a lot of guest appearances. She's done some really dope records that have been fire, huge records. T.I., Live My Life. We had Run This Town with Jay-Z and Kanye West. She's the predominant voice that you hear on all of the lights. Even though there's credits from everybody, you hear Rihanna. Like, you don't have a question about that. The Lemonade joint that she did with the Neptunes is crazy. I love her verse on there. It's dope. Bitch Better Have My Money, man. She had her publicist. I believe it was her publicist, her manager. I can't remember who it was, but they were fudging numbers or something along those lines. They were stealing money. BB Borelli, inspired by this movie. Rihanna's manager or publicist or whatever she was, stealing money from her. This song works in both situations. And you can hear BB sound all over that. Like, if y'all not familiar with BB Borelli, go listen to her record Ego.
Got a lot of haters, I'ma let them niggas hate.
BB is a special talent. She's really dope, really edgy, and she don't give a fuck. And it comes across in the songwriting at times. But it's unique because nobody else really writes like that. And at the time, it was dope. It was before we got to the era of R&B where everybody curses in the records. So at the time, BB was kind of like ahead of the pendulum on that. I think she should take ownership of that. I mean, you could find some points where other people had done it. Kells had done it quite a bit, but people weren't really looking at those songs Kells were cussing in as like real R&B records. BB was kind of like the first. That drill sound and beat sounds crazy. I believe there might be a little bit of Travis Scott in the production of that. And she's just got some of the dopest features ever. Fly. That's where the lyrics from that come from. And at this point, we just don't know what's going to happen music-wise. I just feel like it's going to be a minute. She's just making so much money off of her beauty products and stuff like that. I just don't feel like music is a huge concern of hers. I feel like she's working on music, but I don't feel like she's in I want to put music out mode. She had straight up mentioned that she wanted to have a daughter. I just don't know where we are as far as more music from Rihanna. I would love more music from Rihanna, but at the same time, I don't feel like it's like if she ended it today, she's still one of the greatest to ever do it. She's like number 3 as far as number 1 single songs go, which is cool for the accolades, but she's respected in the culture too, which is something that you can't put above anything. Like, she's always been down for the cause. She's always been down for the culture. She's always spoke up and spoke about issues that may not even concern her per se, as some people would say, but she still fights for the little person. I'm not really fond of saying that there's like good billionaires, but if there was one that was good, it would be Rihanna. Like, she does a lot for her country. She does a lot for minority groups. She does a lot for other people. She's really inspiring. She definitely fits that criteria. And I'm just looking forward to anything Rihanna has coming up next. I know she's in a Smurf movie. Aside from that, she don't have to do anything. Savage Fenty is like the number one lingerie line now. It's bigger than Victoria's Secret was. The stuff looks better. The quality is better. Fenty Beauty is going crazy. Charlemagne jokes all the time about his shade number. You know what I mean? Like it's just so dope to see the stuff that she's been able to do, what she's been able to do for her country, some of the stuff she's been able to do for Africa and standing up for marginalized communities in the States, even if she don't have to. You know, I just want nothing more but more success for her, and hopefully music at some point, or even back into acting at some point. But yeah, man, let me know how you guys feel about Rihanna, your favorite songs from your favorite albums, anything. Favorite movie. Act like you're talking to somebody that's never really heard Rihanna, and just like kind of like put them up on game, because there's a lot of those people that they're just kind of like getting into music. They're young. So let them know, man. This has been Dame Diddy. Another one for the culture.